What's the deal, pickles? Y'all listen, I had to travel unexpectedly, which means I did not have the time to edit this week's video. And so I sat down and I took some notes and decided that we were going to chat. We're going to chat and we are going to, I'm going to work on some Hexies. I did bring my Hexies, so I'm going to do that. And so therefore, if you are here and you want to hang with me a little bit, you'll know what the topic is based on what you see in the description box, because I kind of a little bit don't know, but I think it's going to be good. I sort of just wrote down everything that I wanted to talk about. And I'm going to tell you this, for the time, y'all already know, sometimes I don't know where to look, so I'm telling y'all down. And I'm going to be working on my Hexies. Every once in a while, I think this light behind me may shine in your eyes a little bit. But listen, sis, if you go get your project, you don't have to worry about that. The last thing is the sound. I think we should be fine because I'm on my iPad. It looks weird because I had to, like, my laptop isn't as clear as my iPad is, which I think is weird, but it's just how it is. And so yeah, we're getting into this. Every once in a while, y'all, I'm gonna stop because your girl trying to get her water in. So I'm gonna get some right now. And I'm gonna work on some Hexie. You've already seen this container before in one of my videos. And I'm going to try to sit on this couch crisscross applesauce because this is the only place where I could put this and still be able to, you can hear me clearly. So I already have a needle threaded and I already have some Hexies prepped. I have some prepped and I hope, I'm sorry. Okay, we're still going. Okay, so let me bring up my topic and then I'll be ready to start. Oh no. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to talk about lessons that I've learned from quilting. So this is a time for you to go get your project so you can get it in. So if you need to pause me, go ahead and pause and I'll be here when you get back and we're gonna get it in. Here we go. The first lesson, well, I'm gonna, since this is like a little bit like a story time and a chat, I learned how to quilt as an adult. One of the things that I always try to do, and I am so basting my Hexies. One of the things that I tried my best to do was to have a sense of having something for myself. And I already was a I already crocheted. I've crocheted since I was a little girl. I think I was maybe like 6 or so when I learned how to crochet. And my mother crocheted. She used to crochet blankets all the time. And so I learned how to crochet young. Then I learned I taught myself how to knit. And I don't know, I can't quite remember what caused me to make the leap from from knitting to quilting, but it happened. And the way that it sort of was realized was because I joined a quilt club that was done by Crafty Gemini. And oh no, I joined a quilt club that was by an online quilt club that was being done by Crafty Gemini. Fun fact, ooh, poked myself. Fun fact, that is how I met Tasha, that has the channel Quintessentially Me. Don't forget to check out her channel. And we are friends in real life, and we met in the quilt club. Y'all already know these old eyes, so if y'all see me looking over my glasses to get this needle and this thread on here, don't be talking about me. If you do, it is what it is. Oh, you know, I got the new threader, a new threader. I just haven't been able to play with it and see if it's supposed to work on these little needles. I can't talk and thread, hold on. And I'm gonna warn y'all right now, I'm not gonna edit this all out because I do not have this stuff with me to be able to get this up when it needs to be up. So anyways, I joined the quilt club, and I can't remember when it was. I don't think that was the first time that I quilted. I believe I went, no, actually, I think it was. I remember the very first quilt that I did, we did quillos, and I started from there. And then eventually I found a local, well, actually, that's what happened. I'm gonna back up just a couple paces. I remember I wanted to learn, and I just started having this like urge to learn. And I remember I used to see Miss Jenny on YouTube, and I was like, I really want to try. But when she would do that stuff, I had no idea what was going on. And I had a sewing machine. It was old, but I had a sewing machine. So I was like, you know, I think I can do it. Well, what happened after that was I went to my, the local quilt shop that was near my house at the time. Y'all, I went into that quilt shop, and those people were so snooty, and they weren't kind. I didn't think they were kind. I thought it was very like, I was like, y'all act like you're paying me to be here. So what's really going on? And that sort of turned me off. And I was just like, you know what, if that's what I can expect from this community, then I'm good. Because at the time, I was a part of a crochet community, or we used to do crochet and knit, where we would just, you know, we would do projects together, we'd do tags, we did all kind of little fun stuff. And I just really enjoyed it. Well, so I was like, maybe this is not for me. Then that's when Crafty Gemini started her quilt club. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm doing it at home. You know, I'll give it a try and see how it goes. And I loved it. I can't remember, because it's been a while. Like, I can't remember a lot of the other stuff about it. It's been a minute. I think the way that it kind of closed out sort of left me like about it. So I think that kind of a little bit overshadowed some of the positive things about the experience. I mean, ultimately, the best thing that came from that experience is that I met one of my closest friends in life in that quilt club. And so, yeah, it was, I mean, overall, it was great. With that said, over the years, I, you know, would participate in classes. I would go to classes at least, I would try my best to go like at least once a quarter to an in-person class. I started going to classes actually quite a bit once I realized that doing the online learning wasn't bad, because it got me started. But I did find that I was lacking in some of the basic skills because a lot of that learning was online, and it wasn't, in fact, hands-on, where someone could see you, watch me do what I needed to do. I remember, for example, one of the things that I was doing wrong, and I did not know I was doing wrong, is it sounds so bad now and probably so obvious, but I was sewing on the wrong side of my needle. I'm left-handed, but I'm left-handed who I operate really well with my right side. So like even right now, as a left-handed person, I sew with my right hand, but my brain still thinks left. So sometimes it'll just get me twisted around. So anyways, it's stuff like that. I mean, learning how to like do, oh, I keep doing this, do two ruler cutting and things like that, that I learned, y'all. I know I would normally put two ruler cutting when it came to my fabric, you know, things like that. And then of course, pattern reading and basically like the quilting, is it quilting Gemini? Y'all, I really should just take this out and put a new string on, but I want to finish this Hexie. She got me started, but going to my local quilt shop and participating in classes and PhD days and going to retreats, that, and then coming back to online learning was what really just got me going. And I'm saying all this to say that, you know, I didn't know until I started quilting that, like, my mother or my aunts would say, you know, mama, talking to meaning my grandmother, was a quilter. I did not know that, and I didn't remember that. I remember her sewing, but I did not remember her quilting. And my mother was not a quilter and is not a quilter, but again, she crocheted. And my mother is very crafty. And so I always thought that I wasn't necessarily crafty, but I like creating. And I think that is what fuels me. And I think I have a really good imagination. I have a really good, listen, y'all. Some days I just decide I just want to make what's in my head. I'm like the kid who just feels like they want to dance, but they don't want to do choreography. They just want to move their body. That's how I am with quilting. And so I took classes, I would go to retreats, I would do those types of things. And it just really, I would have thought, honestly, that I would get to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm good. But I just find more and more that I want to explore. And that sort of is what brought me to wanting to create this, you know, on top of the fact that I don't have a video. And your girl has been uploading regularly. And I know me, if I don't, it'll just make it so that it's easier for me to not do it again later. And I don't want that to happen because I'm in my bag. So with that said, I'm going to talk about what I've learned. And y'all, if this thing keeps, I may have to do it super long just so it doesn't keep falling off. So y'all won't see me, have to keep seeing me look over these glasses. And let me tell you something. I have to look over these glasses to get this needle on here. But baby, I love this needle. I love this needle. It just glides through this fabric. I need to cut it at an angle. There we go. And it's sharp, but not too sharp. I stick myself every once in a while, but not too bad. And I don't have to use a thimble when I'm doing these. So, okay, here we go. Or a knot. I don't do a knot. I just go around like this, and I'm stacking them up. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. So the first thing that I've learned from quilting is patience pays off. You know, when I first started, I still didn't have a whole lot of time, just like now. And I think I remember having this sort of thought to myself when I went to a retreat one time. There was this lady, and we would bring all of our own stuff, and they would have classes that we could do at the retreat. And I remember seeing this woman, she was working on this quilt, and she told me that she had been working on that quilt for 30 years. I was like, the devil is a lie. You working on that quilt for 30 years. Like, that seems so crazy to me. And And so to me, I kept telling myself, when I start something, I'm just gonna finish it. Like, I'm not gonna be dragging it on. And then somewhere along the line, that just stopped happening, because I would go to a class, and then I would go to do a block a month, and I began to start having tops, i.e. the long arm, the tops that were completed. And again, listen, I will be working on all those tops and getting them done. But the point is, I was just like under this pressure to feel like I had to get them done. I had to get them done. And I realized the only person that can put that pressure on me is me. Y'all, this is not my job. Can't nobody make me do anything I do not want to do. I am grown all day long. Therefore, I just was like, you know what? Like, there is no rush. Even when I'm asked to make projects for people, even if people commission projects from me, because I've been commissioned to ask to do projects and all that, I still finish them when I want to finish them. And I let people know that. I realize that there are so many deadlines and so many other things in my life that I am responsible for. And this is my space. And because it's my space, I don't. And let me tell you something. When you give yourself permission like that in one space of your life, it is so much easier for you to give yourself that permission in other places in your life. And I believe that is just so it has taught me patience. It's taught me patience also when I don't want to. Like, for example, the quilt that the project I really wanted to edit and upload, y'all, I was rolling. I am rolling on that quilt. It is so beautiful. It's coming along so nicely. And I do not know what happened this past month, between deadlines, client projects, my own deadlines on my own manuscript. It just turned into I was just able to only do a little bit here and there. And I just had to accept that was just my truth. So therefore, I have not been able to, get that footage edited. And I need to just literally sew the rows together. It has been that insane. I just need to sew the rows together. All the pieces are done. The rows are assembled. I've actually been pressing the rows in the morning on my writing breaks. And so, so I've just have learned that to be patient, and it has become a place where I can sit and I can think, I can read, I can pray, I can problem solve, and it's just all about, do I want to do this one like this or like that? No, I want to do it like that. And I think the more that I give myself permission, the more benefit I get from that slower pace. And so, doing this channel does make it a little bit more challenging, because I do want to put I want to keep up with with posting, which is why I just started adding in some other topics. But yeah, so that is what, patience. Okay, the next thing is I've learned from quilting is perfection isn't the point. Listen, okay. I have what we have now dubbed a winged spirit, okay? A winged mentality. If I go to a class or do something like that and it becomes too frustrating or it is too much, I will stop. I will stop and just do whatever I want to do with the fabric that I've already paid for. And it became a running joke when I was taking classes. I haven't been to a class in a while. But when I used to take classes with the instructors, because I used to go to the same ones every time, I would just, do whatever they were teaching that month. It was a running joke that they would take a picture of what everyone else was doing and then take a picture of what Dana was doing. And I didn't care. So, but the reason why though is because I feel like if you have all this other stuff going on in your world, you have bills, you have kids, you have spouses, you gotta cook, you gotta clean, you gotta do laundry, you deal with clients, you gotta go to the store, you gotta go to the bank, life. I'm not bringing that here. Now, some of this I can honestly say has changed a little bit here recently, but it still is not a sense of perfection. And I think the more that I've done that, it also gives me this sense of freedom to create. And I think it gives my brain freedom to imagine what I could create. And so, yes, I don't do it's not about perfection. Now, I will say, quilting is probably one of the most, it's one of those crafts where I feel like knitting and crochet are a lot more forgiving than quilting. But, you know, the only person that can stop you from doing it or make you do anything is you. Now, if you decide you that girl, you that woman that you wanna do competitions or submit to quilt festivals or something like that, well then I mean there is a sense of accuracy. But I'm gonna tell you how much I am not that person, even though I think I'm starting to turn that corner. I'll talk about that later. Listen, the other day, I had to send Tasha a message and she got her whole 7 chuckles off of me because I realized the whole time I was using the seam ripper wrong. And let me tell you why I was using the seam ripper wrong. Because I never used the seam ripper. Y'all, if I did something wrong, it's just gonna be wrong in that quilt. It's just gonna be wrong. If a piece is backwards, if I did the wrong side up instead of the front side up, if I put it on backwards, listen, it is a oopsie daisy. And I keep it pushing. And again, because I feel like it's just fabric. It's just fabric and thread. It's my time. It's my time, and I make sure that I enjoy it, so I don't mind it at all. But again, I do think in some ways some of that is starting to shift a little bit, but I think it's only because I've allowed myself these years to just create. And without any huge expectations on myself. And it's made it so that it becomes a very happy place and a very relaxing place, and a place where I think I'm just one of the few places where I'm just truly myself. I have one more in here and then I need to prep some more because I'm rolling on these. And so yes, I think it just gives it personality. And also I find that sometimes having imperfections are also sometimes how you learn, and you begin to learn your own style and how you like to do things, how you learn how to repair things. And so it's just a part of the process. So the first one is learning patience. The second one is that perfection isn't the point. The third one is that small pieces create big beauty. Listen, I think this is like so much so like an alignment and can be a metaphor for life, right? That slow and steady can still win the race. Small steps are still progress. And honestly, for me, it has shown up the most, not just in the fact that your girl does love a good, I think my pieces and my quilting are getting smaller and smaller, which I never thought would be true. And the fact that I do it in such small increments of time. Some days I can only get 15 minutes. Some days I can get none. And this is why I have absolutely loved hand quilting and hand sewing, and now here lately slow stitching, because I can do that 15 minutes almost every single day while I'm drinking my morning coffee. And so it has been such a blessing to me to be able to do it. Y'all, I'm trying to do this, and this couch is light. At home, oh, here we go. Hold on. At home, we have dark floors. So if I put the needle, like look at it with the floor behind it, I can see it much better. And so, you know, learning that doing it in small increments is still doing it. As long as you allow yourself, you know, the time and the space to enjoy that time. And now it's turned into small pieces. Like I literally have started putting away pieces to make a postage stitch quilt. And I'm excited about it, even though I know it's going to be super small. I never, ever, 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 ever thought I'd be doing this. If you would have told me then, I would say lies you tell. I would have said lies you tell, and here I am. And so, yeah, I think you begin to figure out like what you like and what constitutes beauty in your practice for you. And I just say, once you find out what that is, pursue it and let yourself just enjoy it in every form that you can and for however long you can. This one was a little bit crooked. Can I just tell you this? You did not ask for this part of the conversation. When I use, for this, since I'm just basting these down, I had all this old thread. You know how you always have thread around the house to patch up the kids' clothes, this, that, and the other. And girl, it's always just some multi-purpose something or another. And so I've been using it to do this. And when I tell you, this thread feels like the cheapest thread on earth. That thread that I use for my other Hexies, my Quilt As You Go Hexies, and for my Big Mama Hexies, or no, I'm sorry, I just said that. My Big Mama Hexies and my slow stitching. I love that thread. I love the way it feels in my hands. And this just feels so thin. I need to put a magnet in this container. And so I've done all the ones that I have prepped. So what I'm gonna do now is I leave the papers in, but I'm gonna take out the pen. So I have applique pens that I put in the center to sort of keep them from moving around, since I don't like using the glue. So I think that was number 3. Let me see what was number 4. So small pieces create big beauty. Oh, before I move on, the other part that I found that has been the benefit of doing this, because I have had to come to terms with it taking me longer to do stuff. I remember one of my favorite quilts that I've ever made, and I did do that one really, really good, is the Freedom Bound quilt. That quilt took me years. I think it took me like 2 years, and I still needed to quilt it. And I think honestly, I'm gonna end up hand quilting that one. But the point is, it has taught me, you know, patience, and it all just rolls over to my everyday life, to when I am writing and when I'm working with students. So it benefits me beyond just quilting. Okay, so now this section, I usually work until this section is full, and now it's full. So then what I do is I transfer them to the lower level in my kit. And it's actually empty right now because I put everything, I just put those in there. This was all empty because when I changed out everything, I put all the Hexies that I have prepped, I put them in the other container that you can see in my other unboxing. Look for hand stitching and Hexies, and the title is a studio vlog. Yeah. So then what I do is I have these pieces, and I have, you know, I'm actually gonna get some more fabric. I just use 2.5 inch squares. I just use them, and so I'm gonna get a little handful. Oh, these have my butterflies. Oh, these are so pretty. Okay, what else? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It just rolls over into my business, my family, the sense of extending grace and being patient, and knowing if you just keep showing up, things happen, you know. And that's just, it's something you can truly live by, especially if you're aiming to do something big, you know. It just takes time. So what I do is I grab a 2.5 inch square, and then the little Hexie paper, and then I just try my best to sort of eyeball the middle. And then I put my templates, I put a hole in the middle so that I can just put the straight pin through there. It also is supposed to make them easy to remove. And so they sort of look like this. And yeah, so it's just is carried over into my life. This thought of like just being patient, and small steps are still steps. And it also an even bigger benefit. It makes it so I don't shy away from big projects or things that may take time, because I know that starting now, even if you go slow, can still get you to where you want to be. And that's what I learned from quilting. Like, I wouldn't have ever thought that I would have made some of the projects that I now make every day. I wouldn't have ever thought that I would desire to, nor that I would want to hand quilt, and that I would have a long arm, or the fact that I don't know if I've showed you guys. I'll show it once I get it set up and I'm loading it. But I have a custom made floor hoop that I just never would have thought. And I think it's a blessing, and I've learned so much in my, for myself and my life because of quilting. Okay, one more thing. Community matters. Whether I know that I don't do it as much as I probably should. I could benefit from it, doing it more. But some of my biggest sort of wins when it comes to progress has come because I was in a community. Now, I don't really do well with doing like group events, because when I don't have to be around people, I can be just like this. Like right now, and it's just me in this room. Just out, sit and listen to books, sit and listen to my thoughts, pray, talk God, walk with Jesus, commune with the Holy Spirit. Okay, I could do that. But I know that a lot of my learning came from going to classes, going into places and challenging myself and allowing myself to grow. Even when I'm winging it, you know, I'm working on cutting better, being more precise, because I know that I do not like going back and picking out. Therefore, I do focus. I may do it for a short period of time, but I do focus, and I try my best to be a good steward over what I've been given, and that includes, you know, my supplies and my time and my skill set and my gifts, and I don't take that lightly. When I finish these, I actually stack them up in this other section. Y'all, this is just like a well-tuned sort of scenario. I have a section where I put the squares, and where I put the templates, and where I put the prepped pieces. Look at these butterflies. Oh, I just love them. And so yes, so if you can, so even though I don't do community on a regular basis, as in like monthly, what I do is, number one, I do have close quilting friend, and we talk about quilting and what we're doing and what projects we're working on, and if we need assistance from each other or help with each other almost on a daily basis. So I have that. I also make a commitment to doing some sort of crafting thing, and what I did this past year, since I did not spend money in going to classes, or I did not go to, I don't know why this one feels super thick, a quilt retreat last year. Oh, that's why, because it's two. I was like, why does this feel so thick? What I did instead was I allowed myself to get kids, and I saved that money, and I went to the quilt festival and I took classes there, and that was so worth it. So when they come back next year, oh y'all, I'm gonna be metaphorically running over little old ladies to get to some of them classes. The one thing that I will say though about community, and I found that this is a little bit of a hindrance, is that I find that I do wish in a lot of ways that the community was a little bit more diverse. When I went to the quilt festival, I think I signed up for 5 classes. And I think I only saw one other person of color, well, Black woman. I may have saw a few. I'm in Texas, so you know, I'm gonna say this generally. Let's just say I'm gonna say Hispanic, even though all may not be Hispanic, but non-white and non-Black people there. But I wish it was a little bit more diverse in that capacity. I've just learned that that's how it's going to be when I go, and so I just make up my mind that I'm there to learn. And I think it does make a difference sometimes in how comfortable you feel, and it's also usually a generational gap, right, that can also affect that as well, because they are typically a little bit older. But I think YouTube, oh Dana, I knew I was gonna do that. I think YouTube is helping to bring that age average down, and that there are people of all ages. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, because I'm not young and I'm not old, and I think it's, I was about to ask again, why does that feel so thick? And then I thought to look, check and make sure you don't have 2, and I did. So these are all the ones that I've prepped. I'm gonna do a few more. Actually, I'm not. So let me get ready to go. So yeah, that's what I would say about community. If you don't have a place near you, maybe doing like I do. I think of this as community. It has a sense of like accountability to it, where it does, even if I only do a few minutes, it kind of keeps me accountable to me. to continue to show up, because or else I won't have the content and I won't be able to post and etc., you know. And so yeah. All right, let me see. I think that was it. So those were the things that I learned. I want to end this with I'm gonna keep going. So things I wish I knew sooner. Okay. For things I wish I would have known sooner is that it's okay to start small. But I will say this. I think I would say it's okay to start small. But one of the things that I learned about myself through doing all of this is that I don't like small projects. Like sometimes people do things like pin cushions and all of that, and I don't really care for those. And that's something that I had to learn about for myself. Or I don't like making things that I can't somehow use, and not necessarily like, yes, you can use a pin cushion. There's nothing wrong with a pin cushion. That's just the easiest thing for me to remember. But I prefer to take longer and to make a bigger project that I'm going to love and that I'm going to use, or someone else is going to be able to love and use. And so to me, that's the trade-off. But I still think that that can be small in stature or size, or it can be small in increment, right? Because the same thing would be true of that. It's okay to do just a little bit at a time. And for me, as long as I'm making progress, I feel great about that. Not everything has to have a purpose. Sometimes creating just to create is enough. And that's one of those things that I've had to embrace. Even though to me, I'm creating just to create, not fully knowing where I'm going with it, but I know it's going to be something that I'm going to allow myself to do, and that's going to give me joy. And that's enough for me. If you are one of those people, like, you just got to see an end to it, that's why I like, you know, that's one thing that's good about quilting. You can make a block, and you can do anything with a block. You can turn a block into a pillow. You could turn a block into a quilt. You could turn a block into a pin cushion. You could turn a block into a I've turned blocks and scraps into prayer pillows. I've turned them into blankets. I've turned them into quillos. You can do all kind of stuff. So I would just, you know, try my absolute best to align with what makes you feel good, and what helps to give you joy, that allows you to be the best version of yourself in your life. When you have joy and relaxation, and you love what you do, and you love how you spend your time, it just makes you a better person, which makes you better for all those people that are adjacent to you. That's what I believe is true. Now, one of the things I wish I had known sooner is that I think with quilting, good tools make a huge difference. Y'all, in the beginning, listen, I was trying to get stuff and I was trying to be frugal. Listen, there are some things that you can be frugal with, but the other things, I would say, don't do it. Do not do it. And especially for me, because I'm working with projects over time. Listen, you do not want your stuff falling apart. You do not want, like, it's just, I just would rather save up and get something really nice than to not have it at all. But nowadays, you can get stuff a little bit everywhere, whereas that wasn't always true. So I would just say I prefer to get stuff that I can use over time, and that was just even with, you know, my machine and my long arm and things like that. I just feel like I'd rather have it and have something that I know I'll be able to use for years to come, especially whenever I go to quilting events. One of the inspirations that I get from being around people who are seniors, both in quilting as well as in life, is the reality that this is a craft that people do forever. There used to be this woman, and I can't remember her name. I think she was either in her 80s or her 90s, and she used to come to the quilt classes. Listen, she would slowly come in. Her son would come in. He would set up her machine. He would put her stuff there and she would set her stuff up herself. But that woman, she didn't drive. He had to drive her. He had to come back. He picked her up. And that just told me, listen, I'm in my 40s. You could be doing this in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. This can be something that you can do for life. And it is life-giving. So I just, again, that's why I just felt like investing in good stuff and the stuff that you want. And sometimes there are some things that I want and it costs a pretty penny and I just save my money. I just put little coins aside, put little coins aside, put little coins aside, and then I go get what I want to get. Okay, finally, if you have not already seen, like, you know, I wish I would have known sooner, you know, how important it was to enjoy the process. I think sometimes when you go into these situations, and when I first started, you know, I am good at what I do in my career. I am a professional. I've been in multiple spaces. I feel like I am an intelligent person. You know, I listen, your girl does what she does. However, baby, when I got into this, listen, everything from learning how to read a ruler again, learning how to use a rotary cutter and not cut yourself. I'm still learning how to match fabrics. Like, you just got to realize that, you know, enjoy the process, even the process of not knowing. It just makes a difference. Okay, I'm going to end with my aspirations for quilting and my crafting journey. And I don't have everything on here, but I'm going to talk about quilting specifically so that we can wrap it up. Okay, so what do I dream of doing? Y'all, some of the dreams that are on here, I think if my old self would have heard and saw this list, I would have said, who's this woman? I would have thought, you are telling fibs. I did so many that now it's not even, feels like it's not even gonna fit in this section. And I accidentally pulled my needle out. Y'all, I keep having to look over my glasses to see this needle, but who cares? Not me. Why? Because it's gonna get done. And sometimes I have to repin them because sometimes the pen will make it shift just a little bit, but I like this better than the glue. So, and I absolutely love these applique pens, as I accidentally poked myself, which is, I don't do that a lot, but I do it enough. I love these pens. I know I want to get another set to put in my butterfly case. So anyways, okay, what I want to do. So again, if my old self would have known that I was going to do this, I would have thought I was insane. So I already mentioned one thing, which is I want to do a postage stamp quilt. Now, I've seen people do them 1 inch all the way to people doing, you know, 2.5 inch, but I don't think when they do 2.5 inch, they call them postage stamp. So my goal is to do like a 1.5 inch, because if I do a 1.5 inch, it will finish at 1 inch. I think it's gonna be so nice. And y'all, again, I think this is a little bit of insanity, but I wanna do a whole quilt. I wanna do a whole quilt. And I just think it's just gonna take me time. And if the Lord allows, I'm just gonna let the time. So that's one. Okay, what else? I think it's kind of obvious with the hexagons. I think I've mentioned this before, but I trust if that was my husband. I decided a while back that I want to make these Hexies into a quilt. When I first started doing these Hexies, I had no idea what I wanted to do with them. I was just thinking, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking I was just gonna keep doing them, and I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. I didn't. I started doing them and I realized how much I liked doing it, and then I just didn't even put anything else beyond that. And so now I know for sure I want to make a full quilt. So so that's something else that I have aspirations of doing. I want to one of the things that I want to do, and I think this one is going to be on the back burner for a while, is I really want to do a paper pieced quilt. I have a pattern for one that was like a sampler, but I realized I really don't like samplers. But I want to do like a really beautiful paper pieced quilt. And this is not a technique, but this is on my wish list. I realized in my studio, there's this wall that's right behind my long arm, and I want to start making quilts to hang up there. I have, well, this is gonna sound a little bit insane, but I don't have any quilts of my own. The only quilt that I have that I've made that's my own is my Quillo. All the other ones I ended up giving away. So that's gonna be one of like making some quilts for myself and making quilts that I intend to hang up on that wall. So I'd love to, I don't want them to necessarily be seasonal, I don't think. I think what I just want is that when I'm standing at my long arm, I just see something beautiful that makes me, you know, smile and makes me want to be in my studio and makes me think about the time that I spent working on it and have those sort of feelings. So that's that. And I think I have a bunch of stuff, y'all, but I'm not gonna say everything. I think I'm gonna mention one more thing. Let me see. What else? Let me see what else. Oh, of course, long arming. So, well, long arming and hand quilting. One of the things that I sort of was going round and round about, and y'all definitely let me know if y'all want me to talk more about this, but I was going round and round because I never thought I would actually get a long arm. And now that I have it, that's why it feels funny. It's another one of those times where I accidentally did two. And I'm like, I'm trying to see if I can slip it out. It's like I'm off focus. Okay. So I want to get better at that. And so that means that essentially I'm going to be in a season of practicing. And what I am giving myself permission to do is that for a minute, that means I'm going to just still have quilt tops sitting there. Some of them, I think I'm going to work on hands quilting them. But yeah, so I'm just going to have to, it's like suck it up a little bit. And so that's part of the other thing. And I've been talking with Tasha about this. I think what I'm going to start doing is start like, just like with my actual quilting, maybe committing to doing practice stitching 15 minutes a day, you know, 15 to 20 minutes every single day on my long arm, because I can get on there and I can get stuff done, but I wouldn't call it being comfortable yet. And I think that's only gonna come with time and come with me finding stitches that I really like, because I found that when I went to that class at the quilt festival, that I have loved getting on there so much more now that I have some stitches in my back pocket to use on the long arm. And so now I just want to get better. I want to be able to stitch the things that I see in my head and they be, you know, turn out beautiful. I'm trying not to do it so short that it slips out again, and then I gotta keep looking on my glasses. Okay, so that was everything, y'all. That was a lot. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have enjoyed yourself. I'm praying okay? Praying that the sound is agreeable. And I want to say thank you. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. If you have been here, because I have some people that have been here a long time, thank you so much. I hope, you know, I don't always know the right things to put on here as far as content. And what I've just decided is that, you know, we're living life together. This is what it is for, you know, you to do life with me and for me to do life with you. And if at any part and any time that I can, you know, be a light, and if I can be an inspiration, then even better. I doubt, y'all, the tutorial years of my life on YouTube are probably behind me. You know, who knows? I'm not gonna say never, but yeah. And definitely let me know if you have any questions about anything that I've shared. I have literally one more side that I need to do. And I wanna just close out with, there's so many people, well, a handful, because I have a small audience, but who talk about how much, you know, seeing me do this inspires them, and they've always wanted to do it. And I would say, listen, don't think about it, be about it. You know, we are not promised tomorrow, and life moves so fast. And what I've found is that doing something like this, it just makes me show up better in my day-to-day life, for myself, my husband, my kids, my friends, the people that are close to me, my clients, my students. It also is a thing that really forces you to be still. You know, you can't, I've seen people do some stuff walking, but you gotta sit down. You gotta sit down, and you just gotta do the work. It will not do itself. It will go no faster or no slower than you are able to go. And it just teaches you about life and about yourself and your ability to show up and stick to it and just to do hard things, because it's not easy. But it is worth it. And so with that said, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all really soon. If you have not done so already, do not forget to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel. If you know someone who is a crafter, share this video with them. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know in the comment section what you are working on. I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna get back to this because I'm gonna do a few more before I get back to writing. And then I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Have a fantastic day, night, weekend, week, month, and I will see you all really soon. Goodbye.